video. And here we are at the Ready Spaces Command Center. This is me, Dan Vado, and I'm with my engineer, Kevin Ryan, the man with two first names. We are going to be venturing to bring you a few things that you will find entertaining. The first thing will be my own personal podcast, which is 5 minutes with Dan Vado. And I figure that's about as much as anybody can stand of me at one time. I notice that even when people are actually involved in a conversation with me, that they tend to leave and come back.
In 5 minutes.
In 5 minute increments. So I think that's what I'm going to do with this. And then we're going to take as our testing, we've got a few questions that I've solicited from people on Facebook right now live. And if this works out, I'm actually going to post up those questions. All right. So this is going to be just some general questions. This is just for audio testing and for putting together with video. What do you think of that?
Yeah. And I'm just, I'm here as a stand-in.
Stand-in for a guest.
Yes.
So why don't you read the question?
Sure.
And then I'll give the answer.
Okay.
So we'll start with the top one there.
All right. So Kenny Todd asks, when you were writing the Justice League and Wonder Woman was in charge, was that editorially driven? I mean, did DC say she was the only one of the Trinity you could use?
So that's an excellent question. Thank you for remembering that I wrote the Justice League at one point, and that you're not throwing a rock at me because I did a really shitty job of doing it. Wonder Woman was my decision. Wonder Woman was the only one of the Trinity of the main characters that was sort of available at the time. Superman was dead. Batman had a broken back. And so neither one of them were going to be like in the Justice League. And there were things going on with those characters, so we didn't really touch them. The Wonder Woman editor was also, I believe, the Justice League editor, so he didn't really care as long as I didn't contradict anything they were doing in the regular book. And I really kind of was happy about it because I really wanted an opportunity to write that character because I had kind of an interest in her as a leader, and I think I maybe did an okay job. I tried to write her like John Wayne, and that meant not saying much, right? And I could punch you through a wall. So that's why I'm in charge.
Right.
So there you go. That's my answer. Kenny Todd, thank you very much.
Thank you, Kenny, for the question.
Thank you for the question.
So moving on
Yes.
to Martha Groves Perry. She asked, do you have a sequel follow-up for My Diecast Life planned?
Thank you, Martha. As you know, or maybe don't know, Martha was a regular at the Art Boutiki, playing on our stage several times, and was a huge supporter of what we were doing, bringing her band down from San Francisco, routinely filling the place. So I want to say thank you very much, Martha, for doing that, for your support. Thank you for the excellent question. Thank you for having read my book, My Diecast Life. I don't have a copy of it here, but maybe we'll insert that in the thing right here. So My Diecast Life, if you don't know, is sort of a childhood memoir and it's told through the vehicle, no pun intended, of playing with diecast cars, and each car has a story. And I'm very proud of it. And yes, I do have a sequel follow-up, a couple of things that I'm going to follow up with. One of them is a cookbook, which is going to be, if any of you have ever lived in an Italian household, and I was born clearly into one, lots of things revolve around food and cooking.
Sure. And
so it's going to be a similar thing, whether they be like a childhood or a story of some sort that's associated with a dish that my mom or someone in my family would have made. So I'm going to do that. That doesn't have a title. I'm also starting a very much longer project, which is actually harder to do because I didn't keep my comic book collection, but it's called My Comic Book Life. And it's going to encompass both the comics I read as a kid, which were all the goofy Superman stuff, and some of the Marvel comics, and then a second volume might be the comics that my life story as a comic book publisher, which is not over, by the way.
No.
Not at all.
Just in a new location.
We're in a new location, and I'm going to go back on the comic book con trail. We're going to try and go to WonderCon because it's like at least I can get a trip to Disneyland out of it. If I fail completely, and then I didn't spend all the money I would have gone to exhibiting at Comic-Con in San Diego. But I will be there, and we'll have a 40th anniversary comic book. This is SLG's 40th anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, and thank you again, Martha. Excellent question.
Yes, thank you for the question, Martha.
Yes.
We have another question from Kenny Todd.
Kenny Todd,
Kenny
you're
asks,
busy.
as a publisher, what is a book that you think to yourself, man, I'm proud of that one, or that you got before another company got?
I did read the question in advance, and so this is I was a parent, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that parents say is, I don't have a favorite child. So I never really had one comic that I would say, was maybe more particularly proud of out of deference to the many people who did a lot of fine work, and they're not going to hear their name called. So there's a few things that I'm really proud of. To be honest with you, one of the things I'm most proud of is Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, and I know everyone is going to say that's because it sold really well. I go, no, that is not the case. When you have to remove sort of the success of that comic, of that thing, from the decision to publish it, because there's no way to know that at the time that it was going to be that kind of a huge success. I thought there were people out there who would find it entertaining. I didn't think it was going to be as huge as it is, or as it was. It still remains in some cases. Yeah. But I'm really proud of that, because people told me this comic will never sell. Straight up, some of the smartest retailers I knew at the time, when I sent them samples, would say, this is never going to sell. This is just a waste of time. I was like, okay, thank you very much. And then a year later, they were coming to me and buying copies by the caseload. So I'm proud of that, and then from the content perspective, Johnny is not everyone's cup of tea. There are a couple of things that I think had left an impression upon me when I think about them, that I really enjoyed being the guy that got those out. And one was a comic called Elmer. Elmer was a comic about chickens. Mm-hmm. And so the premise of it is that chickens became suddenly sentient, right, and able to talk.
Which would present a lot of problems. And so the society is set in the Philippines. And so what did they do? They killed all the chickens because they thought they were possessed by demons. Until the United Nations stepped in and said, no, because they have an ability to think, they're people, and we're going to treat them as such. And so what you get is the history of the chicken and their sovereignty
and their struggle for recognition. And it's about racism, and it's very well told, beautifully drawn. And unfortunately, the artist died a few years ago, and I would love to have brought it back. And I used to try to reach out to the family and see if they'd be interested in having me put it back in print. So that's one. Then I go all the way back. There's a comic called Tales from the Heart, which was really one of the first things that we published, where I felt like that story needed to be told. It was a kind of fictionalized version of a person's experiences working in the Peace Corps in the Central African Republic. And it was quite a harrowing story, and it was really cool, and there was nothing like it, and very proud of that. And then there's another one called Harry the Cop, which I'm not going to get too far into, but if anyone remembers Harry the Cop, that was a tough one to put out. And it's about racism. It's by two creators who were African American, and I don't even have a copy anymore. So those are three titles that stand out, but I am, of course, proud of the entirety of the output, even the stuff that didn't sell. I always felt like I was trying to align myself with people who were passionate about their work, much the same way that we booked music You know,
Sure.
how many people that Kevin's in a band? It's for those of you who don't know, and now this is going on too long, but we're gonna just go with this because now I'm having fun, and there's no way I'm gonna be able to do a podcast in 5 minutes.
No.
But yeah, I'm gonna try though. I'm gonna do my best, and we'll just chop it up, and we'll just take this thing. It's like, well, here's your first 5 minutes, and here's your next 5 minutes. But
fix it in post.
We'll fix it in post. Much like when you see this, is going to be a much better looking person. But so one of the things that you may not know, we operated a music venue. I did for 16 years called the Art Boutiki. It was in San Jose, California, and that is something I'm particularly proud of. It doesn't have to do anything with publishing, but we gave a lot of people an opportunity to get in front, to get on a stage, to get on a nice stage with nice lights, professional sound, and in an environment that was basically like a small, high-end concert hall. And no thoughts as to limiting to genres. We would do jazz. I didn't do a lot of metal. And I know, there's somebody out there who's like, I didn't book metal. It's not the music I didn't care for. It was kind of the people who were assholes that really felt entitled to being on my stage. But I'm very proud of putting people up there on that stage and giving them their opportunity to express themselves.
Yeah.
And
we always appreciated it.
Yeah, and Kevin's band, Family Obligation, played there
many times.
Many times, right?
One might argue too many times.
Oh, we have a couple more.
Okay, more questions.
Yes.
So, Craig Clark asks, talk about how slave labor comics was instrumental in the indie wave of animation like Invader Zim and others.
I don't really think that we had anything to do with I mean, honestly, I can't take any credit for Invader Zim. I mean, they discovered Nickelodeon discovered Joan and Vasquez from the comics that we published, but I don't know if you could say that we were instrumental in that indie wave of animation. I think it just was something that was going to happen, and Jonan was at the forefront. I think it's really he's the one that was instrumental in insisting that show looked like it did, and it was ahead of its time at the time. So I'm going to say we didn't.
All right, Craig, thank you for that question.
Yes.
We have another question from John Johnson, and he says, Jeffrey Berry is always a good subject when it comes to publishing.
Okay, thank you, John. I think you're talking about the Beach Bum Berry, whose books that we originally published years back, the Grog Log, Intoxica, later remixed. Jeff is a huge figure in the cocktail world and in the tiki world. And he's also someone I consider a friend. And he was good to us when he moved on to other publishers. He did not pull all his old stuff from us, so we were able to justify our investment in publishing those books in the first place. So
I think I got my first copy of that book last week from you.
Probably you did.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
It's a great book, and it was also one of those things that was kind of ahead of its time. Not necessarily ahead of its time, but it was a fun thing to do. I really had very little to do with it. The book was brought in by my publisher then, and now one of my best friends, Craig Pape, who was huge into the tiki culture at the time, and he brought me this thing, the Grog Log, which was Jeff's first book, and it was a huge 8.5 by 11 book that was printed probably at Kinko's. He says, we need to do a nice version of this. And so he designed the book, Craig did, and really put a lot of work into it. There's little icons above every recipe that show, like, the one is like how messed up, how drunk you'll get when you drink them. And then another one that shows what kind of glass you want. And if it needs a blender, then there's a little icon of a blender. So you could just kind of look at it. It's like, I need a blender, and this will fuck me up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. All right, I think we're done with questions for the day.
Thanks, everyone, for chiming in, and
yes,
we'll do this more.
We're going to be doing this some more. This is now, 5 minutes with Dan Vado turned into 15 minutes and 25 seconds of microphone check.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. Go to the Art Boutiki website and buy some stuff and use the code 25OFF. And and you get 25% off.
And you'll be supporting Dan.
And you'll be supporting this right here. All
Okay.
right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.